Welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, or Mike if you prefer. This is my weekly comic book pickup of 5/26/2021. I wasn't able to get everything I wanted. FOMO is always in effect, fear of missing out. But still, it's a nice fat stack of comics. And without further ado, let's get into it. In no particular order, I will say the last two are my two top favorite of this week, but there really wasn't any bad comics this week. So number 2, we got Robin. Number 2, he's on Lazarus Island. It's a Mortal Kombat style fighting tournament that Robin has entered. He's trying to infiltrate the Lazarus clan or Lazarus group or something like that. The first issue, we find out that he didn't know all the rules and he was killed. You can even see that Flatline kept his heart in a box after she took it out of his chest. It's basically setting up the rules of the tournament. There is one amazing scene where Robin's like, "Oh, I can kill without any, and he just goes nuts. It's a really fun read right now. There was a couple first appearances, nothing major or anything, a couple like minor villains, I guess you can say. Overall, it was a really great read. I do like what they're doing with Flatline. It looks like they're gonna try and make her Damien's new girlfriend. Kind of like they're setting that up. I kind of like that better than a villain. So that was Robin number 2. Next, we got Batman Detective Comics 136, and this is the second part of this arc. It is going after the Warren murder. We met Daddy Warren in the last issue, and they're going after the murder of his daughter. So we thought going into this issue, we find out that she might not be dead. That something else might have happened to her. Batman's kind of confused. Huntress gets in the mix. She's trying to track down. It's from her side story in the last issue, but she's actually trying to track down the killer of her new friend, and which leads her into Batman's investigation. She ends up going after Batman and kind of accusing him, and she knows it's not Batman, but she still has to. There is a cool line with Huntress where she's all like, when she first pops up on Batman, and she's like, "Yeah, don't go for anything in your utility belt, I'm quicker than you." And Batman's like, "Yeah, not on your luckiest day." Overall, it's a really good read. I'm really digging what they're doing with the Huntress. She's got like a new sexy look going. She's still strong and badass. Detective Comics 136. I will like to add with Batman Detective Comics, both Batman and Detective Comics are really good comics. But Batman Detective Comics is more like anybody can get into. I think it's like, every 3 issues they have like a different story. So if you're kind of hesitant about getting in on Batman Detective Comics is a great, just wait 3 issues and you can get on it. So next up we got Batman and Superman number 18, and this is like one of my favorite comics so far. It's so weird. I have no idea what's going on for the most part, and it's set up like that. Kind of like, I don't know if this is supposed to be like 1960s Superman or if it's 1939. I do know this is 1939 Batman, but they're still going up against this new villain. His name is really hard to pronounce, but I think it's kind of like Amateur Ivo. He is able to like break walls, fourth wall, third wall. I don't know how you put it, but he kind of states that, he can go through movies, books, comics, and he can pull out different things from different universes. At one point, he pulls out a kryptonite ring to fight Superman from one of his movies. He pulls out like a phantom crystals, a phantom zone crystal from one of the comics. He's able to pull from different medias and then use it in the comic book world. If you can't see, it's got like the film reels, so the whole thing is set up in kind of a film style, and they jump from different eras, and it's a really great read. There's different versions of, that we had like a different version of the Joker. We're seeing different versions of like Lois Lane. I think in this issue specifically, there's a Lois Lane with powers. It's a really great read. Batman Superman has not been one of the greatest comics, but lately it's been on fire. These last 3 issues, like I want to say 16, 17, 18. Alright, next up we got Teen Titans Academy number 3. This is coming out of Suicide Squad number 2. It is their direct crossover with, Suicide Squad and Teen Titan Academy. The Suicide Squad are trying to recruit members into the Suicide Squad. They have their eyes set on this new speedster named Bolt, and they're still trying to kidnap her and get her into the Suicide Squad. We don't know why they want her, especially since Teen Titan Academy, it's like a ton of new people that are in there, and some are pretty cool. As far as keys go, there's a bunch of keys in this because there's so many new characters. It's hard to keep up with. But this was a lot better read than the Suicide Squad number 2. Suicide Squad number 2 was like my trash pick. It was such a horrible read. This is a lot better. It's still not the greatest of reads, but it's a build-up comic, so I'm hoping the build-up is going to pay. We still don't know who Red X is, and I'm going to put my guess in right now because they do give you a little hint in this issue, but I think it's Batman. Not because I'm a Batman fan. There's just a line in this comic, and it comes off really Batman-ish, and even Nightwing kind of like they don't say anything, but we do know he's a Caucasian male because we can see his hands and stuff like that, and they have shown us a couple different things about Red X, but at the moment I don't know who he is, but that's my guess, is he might turn out to be Bruce Wayne, especially since Bruce Wayne's broke now. He's not really popular in the Gotham side of things. Alright, so next up we got Alien number 3 from Marvel, the only Marvel comic I picked up this week. And this series is on fire. This is everything I wanted. I've been waiting for this comic for like 20 years, it seems like. We should have got this back in the 80s and 90s. But this is straight up like it's like Aliens, the second movie, and Alien 3 kind of mixed together, but a really good version of it. And it's still setting up the story. It's this security officer that has to go back to the space station where the Wayland, corporation were experimenting on different xenomorphs, and they do have this like super experimental, they call it the Alpha Project, but he's supposed to go back and retrieve this Alpha Project because the space station has been taken over by like right-wing activists or something, and that it's a big confusion, a mess, but his son actually is one of the freedom people that he has to go save. We have not seen his son yet. This is one of the right-wing activists. I don't know what you call them, because it is in the future, and what they were standing up for we don't even get to see in the comic, because they went to the space station thinking it was some kind of like slave labor or something like that, and they did not know it was like a space station full of biological weapons. But Alien number 3 with the N. Hockley cover is a really good read. We do get a first appearance of what looks like a new alien xenomorph. It looks like their Hive Queen, Super Mother. They don't give her a name yet, but she looks humanoid and xenomorph. Really cool looking. Next up, we got Shay number 3. And finally, this is a comic that I've been all in on. I went all in on issue number 1, issue number 2. If y'all don't know, it already has been picked up by a show, and that was like even before the comic came out, and now that the comic is like in its 3rd issue, it's getting a lot more precedent on it being a show. I've been all in on day 1. I like the premise. I thought it was going to be really cool. I was kind of burnt because I thought it was going to be a lot more darker than the first 2 issues are. It's dark, but it's more like a teenager, like a Twilight type of darkness. But overall, it's still a great read. This issue specifically, we're getting more into our powers. We finally get the title, Shadecraft, what it means. We actually get to see her fight one of these shadow creatures. We actually get a little more backstory on her brother. It looks like now she's going to be learning how to control the Shadecraft. A really good issue. If you haven't picked up on this now, like up until last week, I'd seen one and 2 and a bunch of like reprints on my LCS and 2 different LCS. They had like a ton of it. Now that everybody's knows that it's being picked up as a show, they're gone. So if you can pick these up, It is a really good read. I mean, the first 2 issues are that teenager feel, but it is slowly building to something. I thought it was going to be. I still have faith. I have not given up. I'm going to continue buying. I mean, every issue has been really good, so it's not a bad read. It's just I thought it was going to be a lot darker, a lot more horror-ish, but I have a feeling they're getting that way. All right, next up, the one comic that everybody like tried to beat me up for when I was at the LCS, but something is killing the children. Number 16. This is the origin story of Erica Slaughter, and it's not really an origin story. It's about like 2 minutes into her origin story, which was fine with me. It was a great comic, great art. But it is like the first 2 minutes into her origin story. Her, I guess, making it to, and they don't call it the slaughterhouse. It's a different name of this, like the school or the prep school that they're taking her into to be taught how to slaughter monsters. But we do get to see Erica, I think, at the age of like 8, between 8 and 11 maybe. And it's like after the first time she kills one of the monsters, and she's getting picked up by this lady named Cecilia. And she's being taken into the fold of the monster hunters. We get a couple of the first rules, like the rule on the bandana, what the teeth mean on a bandana, and they do mean something. If y'all haven't picked this up, this comic is going to be huge because this is the first part of her origin story. Second part, I really want to believe it's going to be like one of those like comics that sells out really quick. I mean, this comic, I was the 3rd person in line, and I mean, by the time I got my comic, made it to the checkout, people were literally fighting because they'd already sold out, and I want to say we had like 20 or 30 copies there. But this issue and this next issue are going to be major, key, important things into something that's killing the children, because this is Erica Slaughter's origin story. Now we're getting to the last 3 that I got, and one of them's a free one, but these are by far my favorite 2 comics this week. This one right here, oh my god, I've been waiting for this. This is Harley Quinn number 3, and let me go into it. This has not been a good comic up until this point. Number 1 and number 2, I was hoping it was going to be. Her future state is really amazing, and that's what we're getting to, but we are not there yet. This is going off the Harley Quinn is trying to be Batman's Robin, because Robin is off, you know, on Mortal Kombat Island. But, you know, Harley's trying to be good. She's trying to make amends for what she's done. First 2 issues were okay. It wasn't anything like, I mean, like anything story significant or anything. I think in the second issue there's a guy that you meet, or it might be the first issue, the guy with the tattoo on his neck. I can't even remember his name. I did like his character, even though he's got the weirdest tattoo, and I do remember him from Joker War. I like that carried over. But this one, oh my god, did it make me like bust out laughing? Oh yeah, it made me put down, it was so funny. There was a line in there, I mean, I literally had to put it down, laugh, get it all out, take it in, pick it back up, and then another page later it made me laugh again. I don't know what they did with the difference of writing. It's the same writer, same artist, but I can say that this art is very abstract art. It's not the art that I'd want for Harley, and I kind of have a feeling they're doing that because she's like, you know, switching up her whole life and flipped upside down, and she's already crazy. This issue was just really fun. It's her trying to set up like a support group for ex-Joker henchmen or ex-clowns. And it kind of goes just as you think, you know. I will like to say that her, you know, her getting into the support group and her ideas, what she was trying to do, it reminds me of a lot like me trying to start this channel, you know, bouncing ideas off of people, you know, her bouncing ideas off her own head, you know. It was a really good read, and it reminds me a lot of myself when I started this channel. Maybe, you know, some of y'all who have started your own channel, you might see a semblance. But overall, it was a really good read. We're finally getting up to the build-up of where this is going. We already know where this is going, and I'm so looking forward to that, because that part of the story I really loved, where Harley Quinn is working for Dr. Crane, which is Scarecrow, but he's not in a Scarecrow persona, and she's being tasked to track down supervillains that have not been caught yet. And we are getting up to that, but it's not there yet. But overall, this was a really good read. The last 3 pages is like purely action and really fun action. It was really good. And it's funny because I heard a whole bunch of people talk mess about this. Don't listen to everybody, but get your own opinion. But man, it was really good. Okay, so last but not least, this is by far my number one pick, Made in Korea, and this was a pick that Dang Comics had put out, and I thank you so much. Y'all don't know this, but I'm a huge Korean fan. I'm not just saying this or anything. My favorite movies are Korean movies, specifically horror movies. If you have not seen a Korean horror movie, you are missing out, especially if you're a horror fan. You cannot tell me you're a horror fan if you have not seen Korean horror films. They are so good. A couple that I recommend, I Saw the Devil. Oh my God, I love that movie. The Korean version of Monster. It's just titled Monster, but if you find it, it's got Korean people on it. But it's such a good movie. It's one of my favorite of all time. Okay, enough about Korean film. But if you haven't checked out Korean film, you need to. So Made in Korea, it starts out, and the art's really good. The story's really good. We'll get into that, but the story-wise, it starts out, and it's about this like programmer, and he's trying to create this perfect algorithm. You do find out that he works at this like robot factory where they're making children, and that his perfect algorithm ends up into this little girl. I'm here in Texas, and it does start out in Korea, but he does send this little girl out to a family in Texas. Whoop whoop. Kind of coincidental. But they do receive this little girl. There's some very funny instances at the beginning when they do unbox their new girl. I don't remember her name. I don't even know if they give her a name. But I love the world setup. It sets up, and it's like that robots are a part of everyday living, that they're in everybody's houses. Not everybody's, but I think they call them proxies, and that was kind of one of the confusing thing. I didn't know if they were doing like a Korean like status type of thing, but I think the proxy thing is more like people that can't have children, they get a proxy, which is one of these robot children. And I mean, if you have a chance to pick this up, pick it up. It's not a horror title, not yet. I think it's only a 5-issue series. But so far it was really good. The art was really good. Yeah, the art was amazing. The story, I want to say the first page, I was like, right after the first page, man, it had me hooked the whole rest of the book. I mean, that there's comedy, there's, I want to say there's a sense of uneasiness at certain parts, especially. It's a funny moment and an uneasy part. I know when the dad, when they turn the little girl on and the way she reacts, I guess he was expecting a different way that she would react, a more robotic, and because she's got this perfect algorithm, I think he made a real, like, the closest thing you can make to a real person. So they literally are getting, like a real girl. But the dad, they turn her on, and the dad is like, he sees something, it's the way her eyes open up and looks at him. And the dad's like, no, she's broken. We gotta reboot her. There's something wrong with her. And the mom's like, man, come on, it's a kid. She's scared. We gotta hug her. We gotta, you gotta. Yeah, I mean, there's certain things you gotta do. And the dad's like, no, just reboot her. There's something wrong. I really loved it. I dig that. I thought it was really good. Overall, it was a really great read. I can't wait for the second issue. But man, Made in Korea. And I'm gonna shout out this Jeremy Holt, George Scull, Adam Wallet. Great writing, art, colors, letters. Get it. Last but not least, we got Marvel free previews. And if y'all don't know, this is a free preview that comes out, and it previews like the next 3 months of Marvel stuff that's coming out. Now, up until recently in the comic book world, these were not allowed, like in CGC and stuff like that, and all of a sudden they are. Because guess what? There are first appearances in this. The first time you get a panel of a character, now I didn't go through this. I did go through it, but I didn't go through looking for, but it, like first appearances or anything like that. But it does give you like a lot of, hey, what's coming up in X-Men and Aliens and anything Marvel. So, I mean, if y'all don't know this, y'all pick these up. They come out, I want to say, every couple months. And it's free. I mean, it's comic book form. You can put it in a nice backboard, and it's free. So that's my comic book pickup for this week. There was, like I said, there was a couple I did miss out on. I'll probably hit my comic book shop this weekend when I go out for my half price pickups, and I might get a couple. I know Blue Flame I kind of wanted to get, and there was a couple others. But other than that, if y'all haven't already, like, subscribe, click that bell that's over there somewhere, you know. Thank y'all all for subscribing, all for watching, commenting, liking. It means so much to me. The channel is growing. It might not seem a lot, you know, I still got like 22 subscribers, but to me it's a lot. It does mean a lot. And all I can say is thank y'all. I do got an unboxing coming up for y'all, A-OK unboxing. Look forward to that. But that's all I got. Y'all have a great day, and I'll be seeing y'all pretty soon.